Okay, hey y'all. So I wanted to come back. I said I was going to try to do weekly vlogs. Last week was my first one, and I just want to say, first of all, I'm thinking my goal was just 10 people. I was like, I don't have that many subscribers. I haven't posted on YouTube in like a year. So my goal was just, if I could just get 10 people to watch this, that'll be great. It had 100. And I'm like, okay, this is good. Y'all, you would have thought that that vlog had 100,000 views. Me and my friend were so excited. We were so hyped. We were just like, yes, you're a YouTube star, whatever. But yes, thank y'all for, if you watched last week and you're watching this week, thank you so much. As y'all can see, I like to talk. So I'm going to try to keep the weekly vlogs to at least 15 to 20 minutes. But this week, I want to talk about something that everybody's been kind of asking me about, because I talked about it a little bit in the last video, but I just completed the Hard 75 challenge. Moment of silence for that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna insert some hand claps, because sometimes you gotta clap for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we waiting on other people to say job well done. We waiting on other people to give us our flowers. Like, give yourself your flowers. This is me hand clapping for me, because the Hard 75 is not called the Hard 75 for no reason. It is a hard 75 days. And I completed it on Saturday. So I just wanted to talk about my experience, about the lessons that I learned throughout it. I feel like a lot of people are interested in the weight loss journey. Well, honestly, people have been asking me about the physical, but a lot of people have been asking me about the mental aspect of it. And so I just want to share like the things that I went through while doing the Hard 75, and just some lessons I learned and what my experience was. So if you've never heard of the Hard 75, I will post the little Hard 75 challenge right here. But the Hard 75 is, you have to work out every single day for 75 days. 2 of those workouts have to be 45 minutes, and one 45-minute has to be outside. You have to drink a gallon of water a day. That's too much water for me. I did 96 ounces. And you have to read 10 pages every day from a nonfiction book. Audiobooks do not count. And I know that's hard for everyone, and I'm going to talk about that in one of my lessons, because honestly, that is really important. So you have to physically read a book. I mean, you can read it on your phone, you know, but it has to be the words, not listening. What else? And you have to take a progress picture every day, and you have to follow one eating regimen the entire time. So if you start off vegan, you have to keep vegan all the way through. So for me, I did pescatarian for the full 75 days, and what I did was 1 day a week. I wrote out my plan when I started. Any snacks that I had to be plant-based, because I would like to continue after the Hard 75. Like, I really want it to be a lifestyle change. And 1 day a week, I allow myself to have any meat. I don't really eat a lot of pork, anything like that. Mine is oxtails, y'all. I mean, listen, and of course chicken. So, but I can kind of go without chicken for a good while. But yeah, so 1 day a week, I allowed myself to have, you know, any meat that I wanted, which was either oxtails or chicken. And then I had 1 day a week where I allowed myself to enjoy like the older snacks that I wanted to. And that was important to me, because again, I want to incorporate something that I can continue to do, and just cold turkey stripping myself away from all the things that I enjoy, it just wasn't going to be realistic. And I didn't want this challenge to end and for me to start yearning after that stuff. Like, I wanted to say, I'm okay without it. Like, I get my fix once a week. And honestly, y'all, by the time, like, after about 3 or 4 weeks, when it came time for me to kind of like have a cheat day, some days I would just go and just like kind of enjoy like a small bag of chips or something, just because. Like, I don't even know if I was really craving it. So I think that was more mental than anything. It's like I was getting so used to my eating regimen that when my snack cheat day came, I'm like, oh, well, let me go get something because I can have it. So yeah, that is the Hard 75 challenge, and that's a little bit about, that's how I did my challenge. The only thing that you tailor is really what you're going to eat. So I want to talk about just lessons that I learned. Oh, y'all learned a lot of lessons, but I'm going to keep it 15 minutes. Okay, give me 20. I wrote them down because I wanted to make sure I hit some really good points. My first lesson that I really learned doing this challenge was I didn't realize how much time I was wasting in my day. And I know that sounds cliche because everybody's like, you waste time. You see it all the time on social media. You waste time scrolling on your phone. Like, you're wasting your life away or watching TV, watching this entire Netflix series. But y'all, when you have to, so I'm a full-time real estate agent. I'm building a fashion brand. I try to go to a lot of networking events. I'm always showing homes. I have a lot going on my day-to-day. So TV was not really my problem. It's more so scrolling social media. But even still, trying to do the hard 75, and I'm already going through like a difficult season in my life because I've like quit my job and I have all this stuff going on. That's already like, I'm doing a lot of difficult stuff and my days are jam-packed. I didn't realize the time that I was wasting, or that's not even my point. My point was, I'm extremely busy to the point where, honestly, y'all, I've always worked out 4 times a week. Trying to squeeze an extra workout on those days I didn't have, it got very hard for me. I was like, when am I gonna find the time? Like, some days I'm getting up at 8, I'm out the door by 9 showing houses, and at this time I was working I still work my second job. I work a job like 2 days a week, customer service for a lounge, just to, you know, get extra money. But at this time I was kind of going into the building, so I would like get up, show houses. By the time I finished showing houses, it was time for me to clock into work, and I wouldn't get off until like midnight. So it's like, where am I supposed to get an hour and a half workout in and do 45 minutes outside? And here is the hard truth about it. I had the time. As busy as my day was, I found out that when I was not making excuses for how busy I was and I incorporated something I was serious about in my time, I made time. And so for some days when I was busy, for me that looked like, okay, I only have about 30 minutes to go outside right now. So as soon as I get up, I'm just gonna go outside, go for a 30-minute run or walk, come home, and then at the end of the night, I'll finish my workout. I may just have to finish with a walk outside, or I may have to finish my time and just kind of go into the gym really quick and doing something. But I had to really work on structuring my time. And honestly, I wasted way less time. When it came to the goals, the things that I wanted to accomplish, I figured out very quickly by like week 3, I was like, man, I can't get up and get on. Y'all, by the time I get up and scroll on social media, one time, it had been 45 minutes. I was like, I don't have 45 minutes. I need to get dressed. And when I tell you, it wasn't exactly 45. It was a little over 30 of me scrolling. And I'm like, I could have been outside doing that 32 minutes, and that way I wouldn't have my full 45 to knock out outside. And so you'd be surprised at the time that you're wasting throughout your day. So having a structured day is really important. And I got a lot done. I started being way more productive, even if I didn't feel like it. So I feel like that was a big lesson that I learned very quickly. It's like you hear it all the time that you're wasting time, but you don't realize until you actually have to do something every day, taking that time to read and taking that time to actually, you know, focus on doing a particular thing. That for me let me know that like, you have the time, you're wasting a lot of time. Number 2, I feel like for me, my willpower got strong. And after about a month, the things that I used to think were difficult, or even like small things that I deemed difficult in my life, they don't really seem as difficult. And I'll explain. I have a group called Small Percentage. Make sure y'all join Small Percentage. We're on a small hiatus now, but in the group we talk about health, fitness, wealth. We read 1 book a month. We do a monthly health challenge of like food. Like we may do, you know, you have to eat a fruit, at least substitute a meal for fruit or something like that. But we try to do things health, wealth, and we talk a little bit about business, because a lot of books we read can be business based as well. And so at the top of the year, my goal was just to read 1 book a month. And I started Small Percentage probably around March or April, and we had a book of the month. Well, y'all, in August, I read 3 books. Like, when people used to say they read like a book a week or something, I just think they were lying. I was like, you have no time. Like, how are you reading? But with Small Percentage, with the Hard 75, I was having to read 10 pages of a book anyways. It doesn't matter if it was small books. So in August, some days I didn't feel like reading books that were really detailed because I would wait late to read. So I picked up a small book that I'd had this book for years. I picked up this small book, and after reading like 10 pages for 3 days, I was dang near halfway through the book. So I was like, oh, I'll finish this. I finished it in like a week. I did one audiobook that month, so that didn't count for my 10 pages. And then I finished this other book. Small plug. The book that I read in August is called Our Black Year. That book is about a black couple who went a year and only shopped at black-owned businesses, and they talked about the kind of the wealth disparities, how we didn't have access to fresh foods, nice restaurants, you know, just how we can get the black dollar to circulate in our own community, and it's backed by research, statistics. It was such a good read. It's honestly one of my favorite books now. I honestly would put it in probably like my top 5 favorite books. I definitely recommend you all read that, because they did that study in like 2012, 2013. And when I tell you, it feels like nothing has changed. The only difference is we probably have a lot more black directories, and we do have an expansion of black businesses now. But when you look at how we were thriving in black businesses in like the 30s and 40s, when W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T and everyone, all their initiatives were kind of in action, it kind of looks like, well, we know systemically that we kind of backtracked, and now we're just trying to catch up again. But statistic wise, it looks like not much has changed. And so that was just a really, really good read for me. But yeah, back to the point. So yes, I figured out very quickly, just with reading those 3 books, that it wasn't just so hard. It's just that I just needed to structure my day. And also, what I mean when I say things that seem difficult, just like y'all replacing healthier snacks. And it's like, you know, if I rarely crave soda or something, but if I just need that, you know, drinking the probiotic drinks that have the I forget the word in it. It's not seltzer. Oh man, I can't think of the word. But the word that you really get from when you drink soda is like the thing that makes you go ah, like that. Dang, what is the word? Either way, can't think of the word right now. But yeah, I just drink a little swig of a probiotic drink, like a Olipop or the Poppies. You know, having plant-based cookies or plant-based chips that I like, you know. And now drinking the Bai teas, I actually enjoy that stuff now. And it's like, it seems so difficult at first, because it's like, if you really just want, you know, a nice cookie from Insomnia Cookies, you don't want a plant-based cookie. But when I can actually read the ingredients and understand what's in a product, that feels better to me. I honestly don't feel as sluggish when I eat that stuff. I feel like it helped me be hyper aware about everything, things I was washing my clothes with, like the soaps that I was using on my body. Because what you're ingesting is extremely important, and what you're putting on your skin is equally as important. And so I feel like it kind of led me into a space where I'm like, okay, let me be hyper aware about the chemicals and the things that I'm using. And so yes, things are just never as difficult as you make them seem. It's all in your mind. So yeah, I feel like my willpower got stronger. Like, I know for a fact I can read more if I genuinely want to. I know for a fact that I can consistently eat better if I want to. It's literally all up to me. Another point that I wanted to touch on, because I talked earlier about having to sit still and read books. Let me tell you a lesson that I learned, and why this is an important rule for the Hard 75. That part where it says no audiobooks, you have to physically read. I hated that, because I was like, man, I can read 2 or 3 audiobooks a month for sure. It wasn't until week 3 that I was reading a book, and I was finishing a book that I had already started prior, and I was still listening to audiobooks because I honestly just enjoy listening to books when I work out and stuff. Like, I don't always, or I'm listening to a podcast. I don't always watch TV and stuff like that. So I like to do, that's what I enjoy. So I think week 3 came, I can't remember what book I was reading, and I opened my notes, because I take notes when I read and I listen to podcasts so I can retain information better. And when I tell y'all, even the audiobooks that I've read since January, the notes that I was taking from physically reading a book were way more than from audio reading. And it's not because the lessons are far and few, because I read some great books. The lesson, I was just more conscious of writing something down when I had to take my book and say, okay, let me jot this down. I would type it in my notes. And honestly too, I retained information better when I physically read it. Like when I was reading, I'd be able to tell my friend like, hey, guess what? Like I learned X, Y, and Z, or man, somebody mentioned something. I was like, man, I was reading a book the other day, and I could quote it as to where, and when I read audiobooks, I can say, man, I heard something very similar while I was reading the other day. I can't quite remember though. So actually taking time out of your day, y'all, it's 10 pages. You can take 20 minutes out your day to read 10 pages from a book. Taking time to actually read, I retained information better when I was physically reading, and honestly, like I was taking better notes. I was just hyper aware of what I was reading, and I understood better. So I know a lot of people may read that challenge and go, man, audiobooks, like that's gonna throw me off. Still your mind, take that book out and read that book. What's another lesson I learned? Oh, I want to talk about this. For those who may love nature, who may not, I feel like I learned, I've loved nature because I like to hike and stuff, but now I didn't realize how healing nature is. Y'all, it was some days that, especially when it's like I'm worried about how I'm about to pay my bills these next few weeks, or you just had those days where you're like, I just don't want to get out of bed. One day my car quit while I was going to show houses to a client. I didn't know what was going on. And when stuff like that happens, once it gets resolved, the only thing you want to do is come home and get in the bed. Nobody want to go to the gym on those days. Nobody wants to eat healthy on that day. I want to come home and just feel sorry for myself. Okay? I deserve to have a pity party for myself when these things happen. Let me tell y'all, it was times I would walk outside when I was having those days. Taking that walk outside for 45 minutes on those days that I didn't feel like it, it felt like, I remember walking out and I felt like the sun was healing me. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like I would walk out and I would just, the air would hit me, I would take a deep breath, and it was like the sun was like, I felt like God was there. I feel like he was like, it's gonna be okay, you know. And then of course actually walking, you know, actually clears your mind. Like you're kind of releasing a lot of stress when you're actually doing some kind of physical activity. So I was able to clear my mind, and what I figured out was having to physically go outside and do a workout during this time in nature, it helped me come to resolutions faster because I was able to kind of sit there with my thoughts and I was already outside. Also, so before I left my job in March, I used to ground on Thursdays. And so if you've never heard of grounding, it's just literally touching grass. So if y'all hear the jokes on social media when somebody's like, you need to go outside and touch grass, take off your shoes and just go into grass and just put your feet in grass. And I would do it for like 10 minutes and either pray or either walk around in grass for like 10-15 minutes. So I used to ground on Thursdays, and now since I'm outside a lot more, I'm able to, you know, ground a lot more and be outside. And I would just encourage that even if you're not doing the hard 75, like think about the last time you just went outside, like and touch grass. Like go outside, take your shoes off and just like walk around. Even if you're just on the phone. Like we're on FaceTime all the time anyways, like when you're at home, like go outside and take your call. You'd be surprised at what nature does for you. So I feel like that was a good lesson for me too. Like them days where it's just difficult, like you'd be surprised at what just going outside and taking a walk will do for your mental. During this time, it was a good time for me to really get closer to God. 2 weeks into the hard 75, y'all, I got sick for like 2 days. Probably was just the stomach virus, but still for some reason I'm like, no, it was different. I feel like when nobody but the devil attacking my body. But when I tell y'all this day I got up like I normally do, I made a green smoothie. And when I tell y'all I had a green smoothie, I had eggs and I had a pancake. Y'all, that was it. Because I had worked out, I was so busy, and I had to work that day. So out of nowhere I just get sick to the point where I'm like, dang near I can't walk, I'm sick, I'm throwing up. I'm just like, this is insane. I haven't even had anything to eat. By the way, I haven't had an egg since. I'm not lactose intolerant. I've always, you know, had dairy. Now I have cut back on dairy since January because we're really not supposed to be eating that stuff, y'all. But ranch has me in a chokehold, and I'll do a little cheese. If I can sell for vegan cheese, I will. So I have cut back on dairy a lot, but I had still always eaten eggs, so I could not for the life of me understand why I was getting, I think I had eggs and spinach. I could not understand what the pancakes, I'm like, that's batter. I don't know. So that part alone makes me think, I don't know, this was just an attack. And so y'all, even still, those 2 days, as soon as I got up, I got enough energy, I just went outside for an hour and a half walk. I came home, made me some ginger tea, lemon, because I knew that once I laid down, that was going to be it. And I still went outside. I did my hour 30, and I just remember that night I called my mom. That's how sick I was. It was like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I was just crying because I'm like, I don't get sick. Like, I try my best to eat healthy and take my vitamins, my supplements. Like, why am I getting sick? I never get sick. Oh, I was so stressed, y'all. I could not. And I was like, oh, this is a spiritual warfare. It's no other excuse. I was just like, here I am trying to do this challenge, challenging myself. And here I am sick. And I'm sitting next to people that's eating a plate full of fried food at 10 o'clock in the morning. Like, this is crazy. But anyways, so I'm just going through all the emotions, and I feel like during that time I was okay after like 2 days, but in that time I was just like, wow, like I rarely get sick. Like, why now? Like, why when I'm going through this season, you know, doing this challenge, why is it now that I'm all of a sudden getting this stomach virus or whatever was going on? So that freaked me out. But of course I feel like I just used that time to really just pray my way through it and say, you know what, I'm going to be attacked anyways. I've already decided to buck the system and change my own life. So the attacks were going to come anyways. And now I'm doing something extremely difficult to better myself. It's supposed to be that way. When you're trying to develop a move somewhere, everything is going to attract you, like the good, the bad. All of it is going to come your way. It's supposed to be that way. And I had to just take that one on the chin. I've not been sick since, but that just, ooh, you know, me and God, we were having talks then, because it was rough. But yeah, I feel like that was a lesson, not a lesson that I learned, but that was something that I felt very beneficial during this challenge. Was like, if I just really craved a chicken salad, not a chicken salad, a chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A one day, having to really just pray that away, like, Lord, take that taste away out of my mouth to crave things that do not serve my body. Like, really praying over the smallest things, like your food, or praying over just what you even desire or want, you know, for your body and your health. And so I feel like that was a really good experience for me. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Discipline will take you further than anything else in this world. I slept better. I was eating better. I had more structure in my day. I had more conflict resolution skills. I was more calm during this time, even when turmoil was coming, because I was being disciplined in my daily life. And you have to get that. You have to. And it just made me think, what if for 75 days, for just an hour, you just take time to do something, whether it's the business that you want to start, or researching on an industry that you want to be in, learning a skill or trade for 1 hour a day for 75 days. Could you imagine what you're going to learn and what you're going to go through? But a lot of people don't have the discipline to sit down and do something for an hour a day. And if you're telling yourself, I don't have it, you have excuses because you have children, all this stuff. When people say that, I immediately get turned off. It's no such thing as you don't have this time. You need to say that that's not a priority for you, and that's fine if it's not. But to say you don't have this time, it's not true. I would just argue that you need discipline and you need structure. I work out with women, and honestly, for the past few years, I work with people from ages, kids too. Like, with some, you know, my trainer used to, like, a lot of children would come, like, if they have football or stuff, they come to the gym. So y'all, from kids all the way to 65-year-olds. The only person in my gym that could outrun me was a 65-year-old man named Mr. Kenneth. Shout out to Mr. Kenneth. But y'all, it was younger guys and girls in the gym, and I could do a little distance on them. And so it's just no excuses. I know women that bring their children to the gym because in their mind, going to the gym is not an option. If my kid has to sit in this corner, play with the iPad, and I get them a snack really quick so I can get my hour workout in, I'm going to do that. It's no excuses. And y'all, that's true. I could literally, like, I could tag these women. These women will bring their kids to the gym. They're like, no, I'm going to work out because this is a priority for me. This is important to me. I'm going to cook because this is important to me. So you have to get serious about your goals. And this challenge, y'all, has honestly been one of the most difficult things that I've ever had to do. You know, I've had, of course, you know, you've had difficult experiences in your life. You've experienced death, but we're talking about something consistently difficult. This is up there. It was times where I didn't want to work out, and it was times where I just didn't want to eat the things that I said I was going to eat. But it's about keeping your word. You keep your word to yourself, you'll keep your word in the world. And for me, that's really important. That was something that I'm like, okay, I have to be very conscious about how I'm going to show up in the world. And now it's like, y'all, when you get to the bottom of it, after about 3 weeks, I was in autopilot. Like, oh, I gotta do. The most difficult part for me, honestly, truly, the most difficult part for me was the water. Because I thought that I drank enough water, but I realized I was drinking a little over about 62 a day. So having to hit my 96 ended up being the most difficult part. And now, reading for 20 minutes a day, it feels like a drop. It feels like a speck in my day. Because it really is. Working out for an hour, 30 minutes, it's a speck in my day. It's all about perspective. And so it's just having the strength to do it and to know. And also, I know a lot of people were really wanting me to talk about the physical aspects of it. And here's a transparent moment for that when it comes to the physical part. For the first 6 weeks, I was losing. I looked good. I still have lost. I didn't get on a scale. I'm not a scale girl because that scale was going to piss me off. I measured what my weight was going to look like, my physical goals, by putting on my clothes. My goal is just to look good in what I put on and actually feel good. Like, I want to put on my clothes and say, oh, this fits me, I feel good. I don't have to go up a size. I don't have to try to adjust. I don't want to do all that. I want to fit in the things that I have, and I want to feel confident and cute when I do that. And so, you know, you have certain clothes that get a little snug, and so that's what I was using to kind of measure. And at 6 weeks, I put on these little gray tights. I'm gonna put the picture here. Please don't screenshot this or share it with anyone. But I, you know, because I'll put a different picture up, but I think one of them is kind of like, I think my hair, I didn't have on underwear, but it was like I don't know, it's just something I wouldn't want out there. But I'll put it here just for a little, just so you can kind of see the difference. So I was really proud to have even gotten that far. My last like 3.5 weeks, I started gaining because I realized when you have a treat, it does not matter if you're vegan, it does not matter what it is, you will overcompensate for things that you really enjoy. So I feel like I started overcompensating in carbs. I got to eating a lot of potatoes, and sometimes if I was running late, like instead of going to get, you know, a little fish and a little vegetable, I was like, oh, I can eat fish and fries, like, you know, that's fine. So like a lot of carbs, a lot of potatoes, and a lot of starches. I feel like I started kind of maxing out on that, and so I started gaining a little bit. I'm still smaller than when I started, but it's that 6 week mark, man, I was like, oh, this is good. But I'll still post a before and after, like my 6th week and my very first week of me starting. I'm still happy with my physical goals, and I'm even more happy with the mental. So if anyone is interested in doing the Hard 75, I think you should. I absolutely think you should. Tag me when you decide to do it. If I can offer some words of encouragement and kind of keep up with it, I'll shoot you a message and say, hey, keep going, keep pressing forward, because the truth is you should challenge yourself to do hard things. Before I started the Hard 75, I was thinking, why? Like, why would I do that? Like, I have no desire to work out every day. And this girl that I know that I work out with, she had just completed it. And I was like, it's no way you really did that. And she was like, yes, you know, yes, I did. And so I was like, well, if she can do it, I can do it. In the story, if she can do it, I can do it. And so after she let me know that, y'all, I did not know peace after that. I feel like I thought about it like at least once a day when she completed. And so I gave myself a month, and I said, in a month, I'm going to do the Hard 75 challenge, because you know, no, I don't have a desire to work out every day. A lot of people don't. But then it's like, why not? Why not challenge yourself to do difficult things? Why not challenge yourself, shameless plug, to be in the small percentage? Be in the small percentage of people that are actually disciplined and persistent and are serious about their goals. That's important. So challenge yourself, push forward, it's prove yourself right, prove God right. When you finish, that's going to be a God act. You're going to be in your God body like, man, like God is around me, God is in me, like I can do this, I can do hard things. So if you decide to do it, man, you have my support, you have my love. Godspeed. Bring a friend and make them do the hard 75 with you, and drop back in and let me know how it goes. Thank you guys for tuning in. I don't know what next week's vlog is going to be about, but I appreciate the support so far, and I hope you enjoyed it. If y'all have any more questions, I have no problem answering it. Just let me know. And yeah, so until next time, guys, toodles.